evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Excellency, the Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, discusses with the Special Envoy of the United Nations for Yemen developments of the Yemeni crisis and support to hold the international conference in Geneva. Many Omani investors show good interest to establish the first budget airline company in the Sultanate. Since its launch, Easy Invest service attracts more than 4,700 investors to obtain e-commercial registers. And Saudi Arabia intercepts a Scud missile fired on its territory by rebel forces in neighbouring Yemen. Those were the headlines, and now for the news in detail. His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, discussed today with His Excellency Ismail Walid al-Sheikh Ahmed, Special Envoy of the Secretary-General of the United Nations for Yemen, developments of the Yemeni crisis and support to hold the international conference in Geneva. The international envoy informed His Excellency, the Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, of preparations being exerted by the United Nations to hold the Geneva conference for all Yemeni parties to be convened in the middle of the current month. His Excellency, the Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, affirmed the Sultanate's support for the United Nations stance and for the Geneva conference. His Excellency also stressed the priority for facilitating humanitarian aid efforts from all aspects in a way that contributes realistically to return basic living services for the Yemeni people. The Public Authority for Civil Aviation stressed that there is a good approach among Omani investors to acquire the permit of establishing budget airlines. His Excellency Dr. Mohammed bin Nasser Al-Zaabi, Chief Executive Officer of the Public Authority for Civil Aviation, in a statement to Oman News Agency, pointed out that this approach comes responding to the authority's announcement during the last period. He added that soon a number of permits will be issued in the fields of flying ambulance and private airline. Statistics showed that the number of commercial registers applications electronically registered amounted to more than 4,700 applications since the launch of Easy Invest service last April. The service has been launched recently by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry through One Stop Shop, aiming to obtain commercial register electronically in a short time. Some 4,073 commercial registers were issued electronically. Investors commended this service, which opens many choices for them to finalise their transactions electronically without visiting the concerned bodies. Various e-services were provided by Easy Invest. Besides issuing commercial registers, it gives the investor the opportunity to check the availability of trademarks, booking a trade name and searching companies' lists. The unaudited preliminary indications for the insurance sector indicate that claims paid by insurance companies rose during the first quarter of this year by 36% to reach about 39 million Omani riyals compared to the same period last year. The data also shows the rise of total direct premiums of the sector in the first quarter of 2015 by 6% to 121.25 million Omani riyals. Most insurance products witnessed a rise in total insurance premiums during the same period in varying proportions. Top of them was health insurance, which rose by 28%. As part of endeavour to support rural women projects, Omani Women's Association in Rostock organised a course on tailoring and embroidery. Training and qualifying Omani women is one of the association's priorities, as to support the women production sector and instill on them the value of work and self-dependence. It also came to encourage women to serve the society and benefit from investment opportunities in professions related to women. The Hidayah program concluded in the Governorate of the Far. It was organised by the Ministry of Endowments and Religious Affairs. It aimed to acquaint Muslim and non-Muslim communities with the teachings of Islam, in addition to spreading the culture of wisdom, tolerance and good values. The program included religious lectures which were presented in various languages. In the end, the participants and organisers of the program were honoured. The participants expressed that the program was very beneficial in teaching good values of Islam. Still to come in our news bulletin. More bodies have been recovered from Malaysia's Mount Kinabalu a day after it was struck by a strong earthquake. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Saudi Arabia said it intercepted a Scud missile fired on its territory by rebel forces in neighbouring Yemen early today, as momentum gathers for peace talks in Switzerland next weekend. The Royal Saudi Air Defence Forces intercepted it with a Patriot missile, said a statement from the Saudi-led coalition, which has been waging an air war against the rebels since March 26th. Coalition aircraft destroyed the launcher used in the attack on the southwestern city of Khamis Musheit, said the statement carried by the official Saudi press agency. The missile was fired from south of the Houthi rebel bastion of Sa'ada in Yemen's northern mountains, it added. U.S. Defense Secretary Ash Carter said he was working with the White House to prepare a proposal for Congress on closing the Guantanamo prison for terrorism suspects, a long-time goal of President Barack Obama. The Senate is currently debating an annual defense policy bill that would permit closure of the prison, but only if the president first submits a plan that is approved by the Republican-led Congress. Turkish Kurds gathered today to mourn and protest at the scene of bomb blasts that killed 2 people and wounded more than 200 at an election rally, with many voicing anger at President Tayyip Erdogan a day before parliamentary polls. The 2 explosions, which Erdogan termed a provocation designed to undermine Sunday's election, tore through a rally of the pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party (HDP) in Diyarbakir. Security sources said that ball bearings, nails and other metal parts from the device were gathered as evidence, but no suspects have been identified. Rescuers recovered the bodies of 11 more climbers from Malaysia's highest peak today, a day after it was struck by a strong earthquake, bringing the total number of dead to 13. 6 people remained missing on the 4,095-metre-high Mount Kinabalu in eastern Sabah state of Borneo, where a magnitude 5.9 earthquake yesterday sent rocks and boulders raining down the trekking routes, trapping dozens of climbers. 9 of the bodies found today were flown out by helicopter, while the other 2 were brought down by foot. Most of the other climbers made it down the mountain in the darkness, some with broken limbs and 1 in a coma. The 2 dead retrieved yesterday evening were a 30-year-old local guide and a 12-year-old Singaporean student. Police said they were looking for 17 other people, including 8 Singaporeans and 1 each from China, the Philippines and Japan. The rest are Malaysians. The quake also damaged roads and buildings, including schools and hospitals on Sabah's west coast. It also broke one of the twin rock formations on the mountain known as the Donkey's Ears. And now for the general weather forecast. Clear to partly cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas. The rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies, with chances of rains occasionally, thunder showers and hails over parts of the Hajar Mountains during the night. The Governorate of Worcester will have dusty winds and fog. Winds will be northeasterly light to moderate along the coasts of Sea of Oman. Along the coast of the Arabian Sea, it will be southerly to southwesterly moderate to active. Seas will be moderate along the coasts of Arabian Sea with a maximum wave height of 2 meters, while it will be slight along the rest of the coast with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Excellency the Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs discusses with the Special Envoy of the United Nations for Yemen developments of the Yemeni crisis and support to hold the international conference in Geneva. Many Omani investors show good interest to establish the first budget airline company in the Sultanate. Since its launch, Easy Invest service attracts more than 4,700 investors to obtain e-commercial registers. And Saudi Arabia intercepts a Scud missile fired on its territory by rebel forces in neighbouring Yemen. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.